Ready, box. Okay, for this video, I want to touch on something that has been on my mind greatly for a very long time. Now, I know previously I gave the Fight of the Year to Ippo and SENDO. It was their second bout. Ippo came through swinging, showed how he was a main character, and perfected his Dempsey role. That was one thing we were waiting for the entire, not the entire series, but his entire comeback. He finally got his Sunday punch, and he'll use it perfectly the first time. His arch rival, his second, I think he's his real arch rival over Miyata, but his secondary rival, SENDO, says it won't work on him. So he was forced to find a way to make it work. And it took him encompassing everything he's learned on his journey so far. He had to put in all the stops. He had to come through even doubt and fear within the match, being beaten by SENDO in his rage form, and defeated him in surprising fashion, in astounding fashion, and in great fashion. And even ended up as brother. SENDO said, let's do this again sometime. Which I do believe is foreshadowing not just for the sparring match they had, but maybe later on another time. They might have a rocky situation where they actually have one last bout. It might actually end with SENDO and Ippo in the sparring ring with no one around. Like, you know how we done it before? It may happen again. I know that sounds kind of goofy, but knowing SENDO, he's not just going to give up just yet. He wants to fight Ippo at his best, which I think is going to be when he gets back from his run. I'm getting off topic. The point of this video was, as good as Ippo versus SENDO was, Miyata versus Randy Boy Jr. was 10 times better. It had all the makings of a great match. And where it landed in the story, it felt like Miyata versus Randy Boy Jr. extended the story further what it should have been. You know, because SENDO was Ippo was explicitly stated he never wanted to fight Ricardo. That's something that Kamigawa wanted for him. And so his main goal has always been Miyata. He was defending the belts, which is cool. He introduced new characters, see different ways of fighting. Had to learn how to fight. He learned how to perfect depth roll, start, stop. And I liked how every one of his matches, Miyata had a match and kind of showed how they kind of one up each other back to back. But they finally got right, and they were finally prepared to fight. But one person, Randy Boy Jr. I'll make a video on him too, so I can't go too deep here. Came in, made a splash, and shook up the world. Shook up the entire world. And he said something about fate, how they're all fated to meet each other again and again. But Miyata got on his hands and knees and groveled in front of Ippo and apologized to him, said he could not go through with their match. This is the match that Miyata set up himself. He's going to call Ippo out to be his rival, which I believe that Miyata is Ippo's rival, but Ippo's not Miyata's rival. Ippo is Miyata's rival, but Miyata's not Ippo's rival. I think he's more like SENDO, because Miyata doesn't really push Ippo forward. He was gone for a little part of the story too, but he can't do it. Why? Because Randy Boy Jr. is the son of the man who ended his father's boxing career. And one thing about Miyata, out of all the 7 deadly sins, his is for sure pride. You see it in the Arnie Gregory fight. When he gets the belt, he says, with this belt, our pride comes back. He couldn't finish the sentence because he got choked up. But he gave a guts pose. He even told Arnie, I'm not losing this belt to anyone, not the one you gave me. And even with Saramura, when he was fighting Randy Boy, says this guy's hung up on using counters. He wants to prove that his dad's boxing style works on the world stage. And even in that match, he uses it and then perfects it to win the match. But his pride has set him on a different path. And I think from that path, from that match, it's become almost like 2 separate stories, which eventually will link up in a good roundabout way. Shout out to JoJo's. But that match was 10 times better because we already knew on this in our heads, this was Miyata's last match. You know, he already had the OBF championship. He hadn't discussed going to the world. But one thing we didn't know he wanted to do was defend his father and get his father redemption and revenge. And that's what Randy Boy Jr. represented to him. That's what he wanted to do. And that the most messed up part about all this, Randy Boy Jr. didn't even care about any of this. Sure, his dad died too, but he didn't even care. He wanted to go for the world stage. Mr. Sakaguchi, the hater, made Randy Boy Jr. take this match so he could destroy Miyata. All because Miyata didn't want to sign him and destroy some of his fighters. And this match went down wild. Miyata obviously was dominating the first half, and then Randy Boy Jr. came out and just started getting him. He was switch hitting, and he had one of the coldest poses ever. That Zoro pose with his hands up like a beast. And after knockdown, tit for tat. Again, I'll go through this in a whole nother video. We get one of the realest poses. Miyata throws a punch. It's the same punch as his dad, the same counter, and drops Randy. drops him. And then when he gets back up, he gets ecstasy state and says, "I'm not losing to someone like you who looks like a straight demon." And the next punch Miyata throws, the punch that wins the match rather, is his very own corkscrew counter, which is like the ultimate punch in the entire, in my head, in the entire series. If it lands, if it lands right, it's good night. But after this, Miyata kind of goes downhill because I feel like this was his storyline. This was what he needs to do to win, and this made him the main character. This is what he felt like, and it's been downhill from there. It's been down. So in a way, he won, but also another way he lost because Kamigala's not going to take a match request from Miyata again. And he's put him in the back. He put in the back of his mind. He's banning him from the gym. He doesn't want to see him again. Ippo's determined that's not going to happen at all. Miyata has hope for it, but hope is fragile. So, I guess the question of this Yap session was, is pride necessary to be a fighter? Yes, but it can lead to your downfall. And the match we got between Miyata and Randy Boy Jr. was excellent. It was 10 times better than SENDO and Ippo. You know, they're both their main character matches. But although Ippo may have won his, Miyata can be seen as a loss. Because by choosing Randy, he lost Ippo. And who knows if they'll ever meet again. That's it for this one, guys. I'll catch you in the next round.